Look at your hand right now. Go on. Actually look at it. See that color? That's not random. That's not just your skin tone. That's a setting. An ancient sunscreen setting, installed by evolution, calibrated by your ancestors, and controlled by one extremely rude object in the sky. The Sunday. The sun does not care about you. It has never once cared about you. It just sits there, 93 million miles away, firing invisible radiation at Earth nonstop, forever, with zero apology, 0 days off, and zero interest in whether you burn. And your skin has spent nearly 300,000 years arguing with it. This is that argument. And by the end of it, you'll understand something most people never think about. Every human alive today is walking proof of who won which round. And no, this isn't some tidy little side fact you forget 5 minutes after the video ends. This argument reshaped entire continents worth of people over tens of thousands of years, using nothing but sunlight, diet, and time. No committee voted on it. No one designed it. It just happened, slowly, the way a river carves a canyon without ever holding a meeting about it. Let's rewind, all the way back. Nearly all of the earliest Homo sapiens, the very first population of our species, roughly 300,000 years ago, were dark-skinned. Not some of them, almost all of them. There was no pale version hiding in the background, waiting for its turn. Light skin didn't exist yet. Not as an option. Not as a rare mutation walking around somewhere. Nothing. Every king, every myth, every ancient civilization you've ever heard of traces back to that one dark-skinned population standing somewhere in Africa, having absolutely no idea what was coming next. So somewhere between then and now, something flipped the setting. To understand what flipped it, you need to meet the actual battlefield first. Your skin. Skin is not a bag your organs came in. It's not packaging. It's not wrapping paper. It is your biggest organ, bigger than your liver, bigger than your brain, bigger than anything else you own, and it is doing dozens of jobs at once, mostly without a single thank you. One of those jobs, the one that shaped this entire story, is blocking ultraviolet radiation. UV radiation is invisible. You can't see it, you can't feel it building up, and it does not knock before entering. It breaks chemical bonds. It damages DNA. Enough damage, stacked up in the wrong spot over enough time, and you get cancer. Specifically, melanoma, one of the nastier ones on the list. Here's where melanin steps in. Melanin is pigment. Melanin is also, in the most literal sense possible, sunscreen, built in. Free. Always applied, every morning, without you doing anything. No SPF number needed. Your ancestors already paid for the premium tier, and the subscription got passed down for free. More melanin, darker skin, thicker shield. Simple trade. So picture the scene in equatorial Africa. Blazing sun, zero mercy, all day, every day, 365 days a year. No clouds coming to save you. Evolution looks at that environment and makes a decision. Think of evolution here as a cold, humorless accountant sitting behind a desk with one spreadsheet and one rule. Did this trait help you survive long enough to have kids? Yes or no? No feelings. No taste in interior design. No opinion on what looks good. Just yes or no, stamped in triplicate. Under that African sun, dark skin was a hard yes. Every single generation, no debate, no appeal process. Less DNA damage, fewer mutations, longer, healthier lives. The accountant kept approving it, over and over, without exception, for hundreds of thousands of years straight. But here's the part most people skip completely. The sun wasn't just attacking skin cells. It had a second target, something smaller, something you can't see, something that mattered even before a baby was born. That something is folate, a B vitamin traveling quietly through the bloodstream, doing maintenance work nobody notices until it stops. Folate is essential for building the neural tube in a developing embryo, the structure that eventually becomes the brain and the spine. Think of it as a tiny, extremely important construction project happening in the first few weeks of pregnancy, often before anyone even knows the project has started. Not enough folate during that window, and the neural tube can fail to close properly. The results can be severe. Sometimes it ends in miscarriage. And UV light breaks folate down on contact. So, under constant equatorial sun, with no shield in place, folate damage would stack up fast, day after day, with nowhere to hide from it. Which means dark skin wasn't just protecting the person wearing it. It was protecting the next generation before that generation had even shown up. Two completely separate problems. One shield covering both. Dark skin in Africa wasn't just useful. It was close to mandatory, non-negotiable. Case closed, according to the accountant. Meanwhile, over in Africa, nobody is thinking about any of this in scientific terms, obviously. There's no lab, there's no whiteboard with melanin, pros and cons written on it. There's just generation after generation of bodies, quietly surviving or not surviving, and the ones that survive pass on whatever setting worked. That's the entire mechanism. No intention required, just outcomes stacked on top of outcomes for a very long time. So, obvious question. If dark skin is this proven 5-star dual purpose defense system with zero complaints on file, why did it ever change? Here's where the story flips. Somewhere between roughly 70,000 and 100,000 years ago, groups of humans started drifting out of Africa. Slowly. No plan, no group chat, no announcement to anybody. Just a little farther north, every generation, until people were spread through the Middle East, into Europe, across Asia, and eventually all the way into the Americas. And the further north they went, the weaker the sun's actual punch got. Not because the sun changed. The sun stayed exactly as indifferent as always. The angle changed. Sunlight had to travel through way more atmosphere before hitting the ground way up there. Days got shorter. Skies stayed gray for months at a stretch. Less UV reached anyone standing around waiting for it. And suddenly, the shield that had been a lifesaver back in Africa became a problem somewhere else entirely. Not cancer this time. Weak northern UV means way less cancer risk anyway. So that threat basically disappears. Not folate either. Less UV means less folate damage, so that one's fine too. The new problem is one nobody in Africa ever had to think about. Vitamin D. Think of vitamin D like an energy bar your own skin manufactures, but only when sunlight actually hits it. UVB rays strike a compound sitting in your skin, and out comes vitamin D. Your skin is basically a solar panel with a very specific, very picky fuel requirement. And vitamin D is not optional. Not even a little. It controls how your body absorbs calcium from your gut. No vitamin D, no calcium absorption, no matter how much dairy you're drinking. No calcium, weak bones. In kids, rickets, bowed legs, a flattened skull, stunted growth, bones that just refuse to harden properly. In adult women, softened pelvic bones, which makes childbirth dramatically more dangerous, sometimes fatally so. Vitamin D also affects your immune system, your muscles, even your mood. Run out of it for long enough, and multiple systems start failing at roughly the same time. So think of vitamin D less like a vitamin and more like a mana bar in a game. Empty mana bar, no spells cast. Empty vitamin D, no calcium absorbed, no strong bones built, no smooth childbirth guaranteed. And unlike a video game, there's no shop where you can just buy a refill. There's exactly one source. Sunlight hitting skin, converting into fuel. That's the whole system. Now, picture a dark-skinned population, freshly transplanted into gray, low-sun northern Europe, tens of thousands of years ago, with none of this on their radar yet. Their melanin is doing exactly what melanin does, blocking UV, no questions asked. Except now there isn't much UV around to block, and they desperately need whatever little there is. Vitamin D drops. Bones weaken. Rickets spreads through the kids. More mothers die in childbirth than should. Remember the accountant? The same accountant that approved dark skin in Africa is now staring at this new set of numbers and going, actually, we may need to update this setting. Random mutations lowering melanin start showing up. Mutations happen randomly, constantly, everywhere, no reason required. Except this time, instead of getting rejected on sight, they get quietly approved. People with slightly lighter skin make slightly more vitamin D, build slightly stronger bones, raise slightly healthier babies, survive slightly better. Generation after generation, slightly lighter, slightly lighter, slightly lighter. Not because of taste, not because of culture, not because anybody decided pale was the new trend. Because in that specific location, under that specific weak sun, lighter skin simply kept more people alive, and that's the only vote that counts. But here's the weird part, the part that breaks most people's mental picture completely. For years, scientists assumed this happened slowly and steadily, like a dimmer switch turning down over hundreds of thousands of years, nice and smooth. Ancient DNA just blew that assumption apart. Meet Cheddar Man, lived in what is now Britain roughly 10,000 years ago. When his DNA finally got sequenced and published in 2018, the results turned heads everywhere. Dark to medium dark skin, dark, curly hair, and blue eyes. Yes, dark skin, blue eyes, both at the same time, in the same guy. Sounds like a glitch in the simulation. It's not. It's just history refusing to follow the script we assumed it followed. The very pale skin you probably picture when you think European only spread widely in roughly the last 6,000 to 8,000 years. Out of the full 300,000-year run of our species, that's less than the final 3% of the timeline. Shockingly recent for something people casually treat as ancient and permanent, like it's always been that way. So, what sped things up right at the very end? Plot twist number 2, farming. When humans switched from hunting and gathering over to agriculture, their entire diet flipped upside down. Hunter-gatherers ate a lot of fish, organ meat, shellfish, foods naturally loaded with vitamin D, basically stacking bonus fuel on top of whatever sunlight gave them. Farmers ate mostly grain instead. Wheat, barley, oats, rye. Great for feeding a growing village. Absolutely terrible for vitamin D levels. So the vitamin D supply that used to come from two sources, sunlight and food, working together as a team, suddenly came from just one source, sunlight, hitting whatever skin happened to be available. If that skin was still on the darker side, that wasn't enough anymore. Even a small drop in melanin became a genuinely huge survival advantage overnight, in evolutionary terms. And farming villages weren't small, scattered little bands wandering around. They were big, dense, connected to each other by trade routes and neighbors and relatives 3 villages over. A helpful mutation in a tiny hunter-gatherer group of 50 people might take forever to reach anyone else. A helpful mutation inside a huge, connected farming network can spread through thousands of descendants in just a handful of generations. Diet crash plus population density basically hit fast forward on the entire process, all at once. Picture the accountant again, except now it's not just reviewing individuals one at a time. It's reviewing an entire village ledger, thousands of names deep, and every single line item says the same thing. Less melanin, better odds. Approve, 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 across generations, faster than anything that came before it. One more twist worth knowing, since we're already this deep in it. Researchers have traced part of this shift to farming populations migrating into Europe from Anatolia roughly 8,000 years ago, carrying lighter skin gene variants along with them, meaning some of Europe's paleness wasn't just quietly evolving in place, generation by generation. Some of it literally walked in from somewhere else and merged with what was already there. Here's a detail that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. Skin color isn't controlled by one single gene, like a light switch you flip on or off. It's polygenic, dozens of genes working together as a team, controlling how much melanin gets made, what type gets made, and how it's spread through the cells. And weirdly, different populations that independently ended up lighter skinned didn't even use the same genetic playbook to get there. East Asians and Europeans are both noticeably lighter than equatorial Africans, but the gene variants responsible are largely different between the two groups. Two separate populations, two separate continents, same general outcome, completely different route to get there. That's called convergent evolution. And when nature solves the exact same problem more than once, independently, using different tools each time, that's about as strong a signal as biology ever gives you that the trait in question genuinely, seriously matters. Picture two separate accountants working in two separate offices on two separate continents, never once comparing notes. Both look at their local sunlight numbers. Both arrive at lighter skin, please. Both sign off using completely different paperwork. Same conclusion, filed two entirely different ways. Since we're already deep in the genetics, one more strange one, and it's a good one. Nearly every blue-eyed person alive today can be traced back to a single shared mutation, somewhere near the Black Sea, sometime between roughly 6,000 and 10,000 years ago. Before that mutation ever showed up, the species was, as far as we can currently tell, entirely brown-eyed, no exceptions on record. Then one mutation reduced melanin production, specifically inside the iris, and it spread, likely riding along with other pigmentation genes that were already under heavy selection at the time. Which means blue eyes, a trait people casually treat like it's ancient and permanent, older than time itself, is actually, on a species timescale, basically brand new. Younger than farming. Younger than some of the oldest standing stone monuments still upright on Earth today. So here's where all of this finally lands. Skin color was never a ranking system. It was never a measurement of anything except one single thing: how much sun protection your ancestors happened to need, based on where they stood, what they ate, and how much light actually reached them on any given day. More melanin where the sun was dangerous and relentless. Less melanin where sunlight was scarce and vitamin D was hard to come by. Different environments demanding different settings. Same cold accountant, running the exact same math every time in every location for every population. And here's the twist buried inside the twist. The exact same sun that pushed some populations toward heavier pigmentation for protection is the exact same sun that pushed other populations toward lighter pigmentation because they needed more of its limited, rationed energy. The sun never picked a side. It never had a preference. It just radiated, completely and utterly indifferent to all of it, and let evolution sort out the consequences down here on the ground. Somehow, out of a vitamin D shortage and a folate protection problem, two purely biological, purely practical issues, humans went on to build entire systems of hierarchy and prejudice over a setting, a dial, not a ranking, never a ranking. Number, that dial, by the way, is still turning, even now, just quietly, muffled these days by sunscreen, supplements, fortified food, and indoor living. The accountant is technically still on the clock. It's just that most of us have automated the job away with a plastic bottle from the pharmacy aisle, which, if you think about it, is a pretty funny way to end a 300,000-year negotiation. Where it lands over the next 100,000 years, nobody can honestly say. Evolution doesn't send progress updates, and it definitely doesn't do exit interviews. But every skin tone alive on Earth right now is an answer to the exact same question, asked by the exact same indifferent star, 93 million miles away, that has never once apologized for any of it. And every single answer was correct.